Greetings, North Central Washington. Welcome, everyone, to another thrilling episode of Networked. I'm your host, David Mabey, the Marketing Director for the NCW Tech Alliance, and I'm stepping in for our regular host, Jenny, who's currently out of town, but you know what? I'm going to do my best to fill in for today. Today, we've got an exceptionally creative guest with a fascinating journey. Joining us today is the talented Meg Kappler, the Executive Director of the NCW Arts Alliance. From her roots in Ephrata, Washington, Meg's career path has been as diverse as a vibrant and has a carefully curated palette. She began her journey in the performing arts world, equipped with her BAF in the theater arts from Pacific Lutheran University. Her early career saw her dazzling audiences as an actor and also working behind the scenes as a scenic artist. However, Meg's multifaceted personality led her to another rewarding journey into the field of mental health counseling. Equipped with advanced training in creative arts therapies, Meg worked for Columbia Valley Community Health for nearly a decade, wearing various hats including therapist and clinic administrator. Despite her shift into mental health, Meg never strayed far from her first love, the arts. She co-founded the Full Circle Theater Company, a testament to her enduring passion for the performing arts. It's this unique blend of her experiences that makes her the perfect captain to steer the ship of the NCW Arts Alliance, a position she took on in August of 2022. Today, Meg will be sharing about the journey and vision of the NCW Arts Alliance. Despite its recent establishment, the Alliance has already set the ball rolling with some impressive projects. Today, we'll be delving into their Regional Artist Index and their joint effort with Visit Wenatchee and the Wenatchee Downtown Association to rebrand Wenatchee's First Fridays. So get ready, get those paintbrushes out, and prepare for an enriching journey into the thriving art scene of North Central Washington. Whether you're an arts enthusiast or simply someone who appreciates creativity, today's conversation promises to be an inspiring ride. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this short break here on the NCW Life Channel. Well, welcome back to Networked. I'm excited to introduce Meg Kappler, the Executive Director of the NCW Arts Alliance. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and your professional history?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me today. Yeah, my background has been, I was thinking about this morning as I was preparing, but I've kind of been riffing on this theme of mental health and the arts, kind of from the beginning,
right.
Which is kind of cool. So my first career was really in performing arts. I have a degree in theater,
right.
And so lots of acting and also scenic artistry. So I was a scenic artist most of my 20s and painted lots of sets and that kind of thing, as well as acting.
So in front and behind the scenes, you kind of know the whole world of the acting or the theater scene.
Yeah, which was great. I went to a real small theater program at Pacific Lutheran University, and it was a small department, so we kind of got to do everything,
right?
Which was wonderful,
right?
And at the time, I remember thinking, well, I know I want to kind of study human nature because people fascinate me, but I couldn't decide, theater, psychology. Do I go the scientific route or?
Right.
And of course, theater won in my 20s.
Very cool. Well, so then you go into your professional career, you're rolling along, and then you create the Full Circle Theater Company.
Yeah, so I went back to school and got my master's in mental health counseling and did that for a number of years. And learned about kind of the creative arts therapies. So that kind of tied those two things together. And then when we moved to Wenatchee about 10 years ago, my husband and I, we met in theater. He's a theater guy too.
Oh, okay.
And then we decided to start our own nonprofit theater company. And so we met our best friends, Maren Cagle and David Harville, who live up in Leavenworth.
Okay.
And the four of us made a theater company in 2015.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and then you also worked in the health industry. Sorry for skipping over that. That was you were at a hospital locally too, right?
Yeah. So when we moved back, I was working with Columbia Valley Community Health for about the past 9.5 years. So I started as a full-time therapist, and then I moved into clinic administration. So CVC is an awesome place to work, and they've really expanded. We have so many employees now because the need is so great.
New hospital
building happening in East Wenatchee. Yeah, so fantastic place. And so through the growth there, I was able to move from kind of my therapist role into more of an administrative role. So I got to learn that part of things from a healthcare perspective, which kind of brought me full circle again back to
the theater.
Yeah.
Were you just missing? Was it just something you felt you were missing? You had to kind of get back into that creative realm.
Yeah, I mean, so with the theater company, we always have been able to sort of keep our fingers in that and be doing that along the way. But felt like it was time to just fully shift back into the arts. And so having kind of this again, kind of riffing on this theme of mental health and the arts,
right.
That just became more and more prevalent. And so now my role as executive director of the Arts Alliance isn't necessarily focused primarily on the mental health piece, but I feel like there's a lot to kind of bring into that, right, potentially to the area.
So you just touched on the Arts Alliance there briefly. So tell us a little bit more about what the NCW Arts Alliance kind of is and what your mission or goal is for our valley.
Yeah, fantastic. So the steering committee for the Arts Alliance started in February of 2021. So this is new. This iteration of an alliance is very new. The main thing that happened, which was amazing before I even started on the steering committee, is we got a consulting grant through the Nonprofit Practices Institute. And that really, so then in summer of 2021, I started on the steering committee, and then we started working with a consultant. And that was magic. It just helped us develop our strategic plan, really have those deep conversations about what we want to build, what does the area need, and really got us off on the right foot. So our mission is to cultivate the arts and connect artists, arts organizations all across the region.
Oh, okay, perfect. So would that be kind of like helping, I guess, up and coming artists find places to go, or kind of what's that look like if I'm an artist trying to get help from your organization?
Yeah, so what we've realized, and there's several sister organizations, Met How Arts north of us in Twisp, and Columbia Basin Allied Arts over in Moses Lake, and Gallery One in Ellensburg has a real strong art scene, and so there's kind of I call them our sister organizations all around us doing this great work. So for our little location, our region, what we found is that there's just so much amazing stuff happening here. So many creative people all across the board, performing arts, visual arts, textile arts, graphic, like it's all over. But people were kind of feeling siloed and that there wasn't really they weren't feeling super connected into a network, right? And so that's what we feel like our function can be. One of our board members, Holly Thorpe, is great. She's a local writer and consultant and a faculty at Wenatchee Valley College, and she said at one of our meetings, she's like, I feel like we're a cultural switchboard. And we all really resonated with that.
Yeah, so that's a great way to explain that, I guess.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like how do you envision your experience and kind of your expertise will benefit growing this organization in your new role, and with this being such a new organization? Yeah,
I just feel really honored that this has all kind of lined up the way it has for me. I feel like I was ready to move back into the arts in this kind of a capacity, and the organization was ready to have somebody kind of, I think, with my skill set that was able to do that. But this has been, I just want to emphasize how much of a team effort this has been with the Arts Alliance.
Right.
Absolutely. So we have a very dedicated working board.
Yeah.
Most of the steering committee members are now then just transitioned straight into board member roles, and we're all partners in this. So I might be the executive director, but like this is definitely a group effort.
So I'm curious, on your board and everything else, is this, are these like everybody who's been in theater or arts, or do you have like business owners and different things like that, or they're just interested in kind of bringing this scene
we've got a really
valley?
Great group of people. So our president, Scott Bailey, is the director of the Wenatchee Valley College Art Program.
Okay.
We have Marissa Collins, who's the development director at the New America PAC.
Oh.
Our secretary is Amelia Chavez Monreal. She is a clinic administrator at CVCH.
Yeah.
And then we've got musicians, and we've got local film producers. We've got kind of a breadth now of
kind of all the different channels out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So do you see this transitioning into with your past background into therapy? Do you feel like there's an avenue where you guys might explore art and therapy, or anything along those lines?
Probably not specifically. We've been really our goal has been to just really continue. One of our values, let me say, has been to really continue to stay connected into what the community is telling us they need.
Right.
So we started off with a community survey. We did community forums early on, and we have a monthly place where the community can come and find us and talk to us about the arts and what do they feel like they need and that sort of thing. So we're being pretty careful, thoughtful about what we build,
right.
And what we can actually just support that's already going on. That to me is kind of the main thing. There's so much happening. We want to connect and support what's happening,
right.
And then just be thoughtful about any extra programming that we build to make sure that it's really indicative of what people need. So the mental health piece we're not necessarily focusing on that.
Right.
But I do feel like there's room for inviting and enticing more creative arts therapists into the area and that sort of thing.
So I feel then you guys are probably more like the NCW Tech Alliance, where we're just trying to connect the community to different programs and find different ways for them to get that outlet.
Yes, absolutely.
Rather than creating the program or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Can you share, so you guys are a newer organization. Do you have any significant milestones or achievements that you're excited about that the Alliance has already hit, being that you just kind of became the executive director in August of 2022?
Yeah, it was August, yeah, it's been such a fascinating process. So having gone through kind of helping develop the Full Circle Theater nonprofit, that was kind of my first foray into that world.
Right.
But honestly, with the consultant help, we were just able to do probably in 5 months what it took us a couple years to do with the other organization.
Just from that experience?
Yeah, and so really there hasn't been a lot of sort of public facing, we're getting there, activity. And so there's been a lot of folks saying, hey, what are you guys doing? What's going on? And truly we've been building this infrastructure. And so the milestone right now for us is that we have just a really concrete strategic plan. We know where we're going. We have good budget. We have a plan for grant writing and donations. We have that built.
Right.
So that feels really solid. And now is the time, I think, pretty much right now, when we're starting to feel like we can launch into some actual programming. And that's going to be more public facing and exciting. And
yeah, well, the thing I've also noticed, I'm newer to nonprofits and getting into this, and it's the more I'm working with other nonprofits around here, if you're not actively looking for something, you don't even realize how many very impactful and cool nonprofits there are out there.
Right.
And then some of the conversations we had with other nonprofits is like, how do we help each other? How do we connect people to what you're doing?
Yeah.
Because I'm just hearing about this Arts Alliance, I wouldn't have known that before, but now if I have an artist friend or somebody in the arts looking for some outlet, it's an easy way. So, well, we have to head to a quick commercial break, but fascinating to hear about all this. When we come back, we're going to learn more kind of what you guys have going on, any upcoming events, and then how people can get connected and help you out.
Great, thank
you. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on Networked with more with Meg. All right, so welcome back. Before the break, we learned about Meg, kind of your background, and then more about what the NCW Arts Alliance is doing. But now let's get a little bit more in. You got some projects coming up. You have this Regional Artist Index project. What is that about? And tell me more about that.
Yeah, we're really excited to launch this. So as I mentioned before, a lot of our work so far has been kind of behind the scenes infrastructure building. And so this is one of our biggest projects. So we have a really nice functional website, but we're in the process of redesigning it. And part of that redesign is going to include this Regional Artist Index database.
Okay.
So we're working with a web designer to create this database where artists, all kinds of artists and arts organizations could go on, fill out their information, and then be listed on our website. So it'll be a searchable database. So the idea is that anybody who, if you needed, your cousin's having a wedding and you need a musician, you could go in and type in a couple keywords and maybe have a list then of people that you could look for yourself and say, oh, who do I want to reach out to?
So will this be organized like by musicians, by artists, graphic artists, or do you not? Are you just kind of waiting to see kind of how the information comes in and what the need is?
Yeah, and then on our end we'll be able to kind of label these things so that it'll be searchable in that way. But for right now, we're just anybody who's is interested in that wants to be part of the index, and we're making it free for the first year because we know this is kind of a PDSA, we're Plan, Do, Study, Act, where we build it, test it out, get people involved, and then hopefully the goal is it's going to provide great value for people, and then they're going to want to keep joining, and we may end up with a membership structure.
Structure. So I was going to say, so do you see this, if successful, do you see this growing into some sort of subscription base where you could go and like if I need a video artist or if I need somebody like that, you could go there and like see?
Yes.
And then how do you think it would work? Would it be like a link to their website, or are you guys going to actually house store projects or?
Probably not yet. To start with, it'll probably just be a link to whatever, if they have their own professional website or information that they want. So it'll be a thumbnail and a blurb about what they do, who they are, so you can get a feel for them, and then link to more information from there. The Met How Arts has done, they have something similar, and it's really slick, and we just really wanted to bring that down into our area.
So you mentioned these other ones that you were kind of emulating and had respect for. So will they be part of the database as well? Are you going to kind of try to work together and create like a master database?
I think that'd be amazing. To start with, I think we're kind of doing our own things, and they have slightly different functionality. But I think the goal, I mean, the bigger the network, the better for people, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, I imagine that we'll find lots of ways to partner with those organizations as we go.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
So what would be the, I guess, the key responsibilities there? Is this mostly for the artists, or is this just a way to bring kind of everybody together and bring awareness to all these different things that are available?
That's a great question. I think it's going to serve multiple functions. So it's going to be a way for artists to market themselves, hopefully in a broader way, right? And get themselves out and known, because people are going to hopefully get to know that this is the place to go for the info, right?
Right.
But then secondarily, I think it's also if arts organizations want to be involved and get them, like we have these venues, and so then we could be connecting venues and artists as well. I envision that happening, and then also potentially even resource sharing. So some of the performing arts, Lacey Grove at Stage Kids has reached out to us, and she has some fantastic ideas about like props and costume sharing, like resource sharing,
right? I was going to say,
not everybody is having to do their own thing. And I think this could actually evolve into something like that, where we've got just a really strong network of collaboration.
Right.
In that way.
I mean, because it's all, everybody's in the same collaborative space, but I've been to Stage Kid performances and they're amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like, holy smokes, there's a lot of work that goes into all this, and then you go see another play put on by somebody else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work going into that. So yeah, it seems like you can find a nice centralized hub to store that stuff, but then I guess you have to run into storage and where do you hold
We even
off?
talked about running sort of like classified ads. That might be way down the road. That's a lot to manage on the back end, but like, seeking Shrek head. Now, I mean, like, obviously that wasn't a built thing. That was a makeup job. That was a bad example. But all of the set pieces,
staircase.
Like
that looks like a castle or
Cinderella coach. Especially the big ticket items. It'd be great if a lot of times you can rent those things from other companies out of the area. But again, we want to support regional. So if people are doing these things, it'd be great to have a way to connect and share.
Right. It's got to be exciting because you're it's got to be like the spark period where all these ideas are flowing and kind of like. The blank canvas, so to speak, right?
Yes.
What excites you most kind of about the Artist Index personally, and then maybe as the organization? Like, what do you feel is going to be like the biggest benefit of it?
Well, I think part of the outgrowth of that, once we get it established and functioning the way that we want it to, is that we also are talking about doing some potential, we haven't come up with a name yet, but some sort of educational series like master classes.
Right.
But for artists, again, to kind of, the idea is that we want to bring in funding into the area and more information and educational opportunities for artists. Like, so if you're a new artist and you've got amazing work, but you just don't know what to do with it or how to get out there, right? Again, that connectivity, the educational piece about how to market your art, how to write an artist bio, how to do those basic things that can seem really daunting, how to apply for an individual grant or even know where the grants are out there. So that might be, I think, maybe a spin-off of the index. It's not going to be a direct function of it, but that's another thing that we're really excited about.
Yeah, and then like you said, it's also, I have friends, I lived in LA for 13 years, and a lot of friends that were artists, and a lot of them don't really have, they paint all day or they do their art, they don't have the drive to do the other part. So something like that could be very helpful to just get the ball rolling there.
That's the idea.
Well, the NCW Arts Alliance, you're also helping with rebranding Wenatchee's First Fridays.
Yes.
That's with, kind of, tell us more about that and who you're working with for that project.
Yeah, that's been really exciting too. That's definitely our other major project going on right now. So we're partnering really closely with the Chamber, with Visit Wenatchee, and then with the Wenatchee Downtown Association. Wenatchee Downtown Association has kind of taken, the First Fridays has had a great history, and it's had lots of different iterations with lots of different hard work going in by a lot of people and volunteer time and hours. It's been amazing to kind of understand the history of how that's developed. And I think COVID really knocked it on its head. It was really difficult, and it went through some difficult times.
Right.
And so the Wenatchee Downtown Association kind of took that on and expanded it out. It used to kind of have more of an arts walk focus, I think.
Yeah.
And now other businesses get involved. They do specials and discounts and that sort of thing. And so now that our organization exists, the three organizations are now really partnering to make Wenatchee First Fridays like grow it from here.
Gotcha.
And kind of re-envision it.
If I was new to town then, so what would be the appeal if I wasn't an artist to come to the Wenatchee's First Friday?
Yeah.
I guess because if if they're new to town, they might not
Sure.
understand what the history of
What
it
is it? Yeah. So every first Friday of every month, a lot of the downtown shops are open. Lots of venues are hosting local artists, which is amazing. You get to see amazing art through the Arts Walk piece. The thing that's been a challenge over the past couple of years is it's been very disjointed. Nobody's really known who to contact to get involved.
Right.
And so the two main things that we've done is we've created a website, so WenatcheeFirstFridays.com.
Okay.
And so people can go and see exactly what's on offer. And then that's also a place where venues who may want to host artists could go and submit their events so they can be part of that. And then we're publicizing all of that in a couple different ways. There's an online map for people to go. If you look that up, WenatcheeFirstFridays.com, and go on your
Right.
phone, you can see the map, so you can actually walk around that way. Or we're also putting, now we have a full page centerfold map with listings in our print publication as well,
okay. Nice.
which is pretty fantastic. So, and that runs, we have a monthly newsletter called the Art Beat, and so that's part of that, which is also part of the Comet magazine, which is the local arts and entertainment magazine as well.
Okay, so how would people, subscribe to your newsletter? Where would they have to go to get into that so they could get that information?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two different ways. If you're more interested in just learning more about what the Arts Alliance is doing, you can go to ncwarts.org. That's our main website, and there's links to everything there.
Right.
If you're really focused on the Wenatchee First Fridays, and you're like, oh, that sounds fun, I want to either go or get involved, the website's going to be a great place for that. So that's the WenatcheeFirstFridays.com website.
WenatcheeFirstFridays.com website.
Yeah.
Easy to say.
Yeah. Long, but.
Right. Well, we're running out of time here, so we just talked about how people can get involved. But if there was one thing you wanted to tell the audience or an artist up and coming, your biggest call to action, or how somebody could help you guys out the most, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's probably 10 things, but I'll narrow it down. So the main thing I think is just we want to hear from people. Our main value is around collaboration and coordination and communicating with people. So if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if something in this kind of sparked you, please reach out to us. You can email us. All the information's on the website. We want to, as we grow and develop the organization, we want to, again, make sure that it's relevant.
Right.
And actually doing the things that the community needs us to do. So as far as getting involved, there's probably going to be more opportunities to volunteer. If people are interested in leading one of those masterclass educational things, they've got some expertise in that area, we'd love to hear from them.
Right. Give us the website one more time.
NCWArts.org.
All right.
And the other one is Wenatchee.
So make sure to check out ncwarts.org. I want to thank Meg for being on today with us. If you want to know more about the Tech Alliance, check us out at ncwtech.org. And that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you, Meg, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in and watching, and we'll see you next week.
I want to invite you to watch Network TV. I interview different guests in technology, entrepreneurship, business, education, and nonprofit. It's a bit of a variety show, and you never know who you're going to meet or learn about on Network TV. Tune in weekly to the NCW Life channel.